Building a personal brand takes time. It takes persistence. It takes determination. It takes setting a goal so big for yourself that you're willing to do anything to accomplish it. So, in this video, we talk with Coach Lenny V, who's managed to backpack Central America and Europe, all while maintaining a consistent personal brand and a fitness routine. So, if you're someone that struggles with consistency, you're going to want to listen to this. I wanted to ask you, because you tell me a bit about your recent trip. You were traveling Europe, and because you were here in Mexico, and then you told me you were going to go to Europe. And throughout the entire time that you were in Europe, you were absolutely killing it on social media. You were being consistent. You were being on top of it all. So, tell me a bit about that dynamic of traveling and how you use that travel experience also to continue to create content and share it.
Yeah, so I've basically been away. I came back early December 2023 recently. And I've been away for 600 days on the dot, so just short of 2 years. So all of that content over the last bit of life was on the go. And, obviously in Mexico, I was there for a bit longer of time. And then there's been other countries where I've been there for a month or 3 months. But there's been other times where I've been, in Hungary for 3 days, and then Poland for 5 days, and then Scotland, the Scottish Highlands for 5 days. So there's been more challenging times for sure, and definitely like the way to get around that is setting an expectation with yourself. Like, you gotta be realistic sometimes. And at the moment, I'm posting every single day, potentially twice a day. But when you're on those, let's call it holiday mode, because honestly, my main goal at that moment of time was not to be working. It was to be enjoying life. And I think that, that you got to have a bit of balance sometimes, but I was still posting 3 times a week. It was less, but it was still, because it's funny that you say that, because I actually thought I wasn't posting that often then, but now hearing you say it, well, I was, I just might have took it for granted. So definitely what I've learned from that experiences was, if I can be posting 3 times a week whilst on the go, then when I'm back in full force, like there's nothing stopping me now. And it's the same thing with fitness as well. When I'm on the go around the world, at the very minimum, I was training 3 times per week. And for me, that was enough to kind of like, maintain. You lose a little bit for sure, but, just to get the basics in, the foundation work in. You maintain your customers, you maintain your physique, and then once you get back, full steam ahead. So whether that be in somewhere like Mexico, where you go, because you can settle yourself for when you're in a routine, if you're there for 6 months, 7 months, in Munich for 3 months, in Bali for 2 months. So you can definitely establish a new routine. But then, it's what comes along with being in a new place, and you meet new friends, they invite you out, you want to see stuff, it's all new and exciting. So definitely coming back is there's less distractions. And honestly, because as a consequence, my business has gone like through the roof lately. So if anyone is like listening, wanting to have that balance between, starting an online business, but then also wanting to travel, just set you gotta, if you're actually serious about starting a business, you want to be somewhere solid with a routine to begin with. Because if you're trying to do too much at once, you're not going to get anywhere. And it's the same, like you really take for granted how, when you go to Cancun and back home, how much work involves around booking flights, booking accommodation, an itinerary, and then time difference depending on where you're going, like all of that alongside starting new business, and then starting your routine, and then trying to be healthy. It's like it can be a lot at times. So definitely when you're starting out, having a bit of routine and stability is what I found is definitely the best to actually get to where you want to be.
Definitely. I completely agree with you. I feel like you said, if you have a business, you need to have a plan. But if you're going to be on social media, you need to have a plan and a strategy, right? And that's one of the things that I feel like a lot of people struggle with that are trying to have an online business is they don't know what they're posting about. They don't set an expectation for how often they should be posting. what to talk about. They don't have those topics laid out. So it actually does make it really hard. You know, you end up kind of scratching your head being like, what do I even post today? Right? Because that expectation isn't there. So definitely having a plan, having that structure helps do that. And one of the things that I noticed that you did, which I thought was awesome. Okay, two things. One is you say something along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing, but you teach people how to get fit without giving up their social life, more or less, right? So throughout your travels, you were making some really, really funny reels where you're saying like, I'm going to go out and drink tonight, but I still have fitness goals. So this is what I'm going to eat. Or this is how I'm going to manage my calories.
Yeah.
And you're out in different countries, like you said, meeting friends and maybe going out and stuff. But having that plan and being like, okay, how am I going to make this work? And I found that really cool. So take me a little bit into like your creative process of creating reels when you were out in another country, and then you kind of get this idea. Like how did that come about?
Yeah, so yeah, you hit the nail on the head, and that's part of my niche as well. Is definitely because 25 to 35-year-old guys, they don't want to give up drinking in their social life for at least maybe a month or two. They're happy with it, but ongoing, people want that balance. It's unrealistic for me to tell people never drink again. So it's about understanding how to do it alongside getting to where you want to be. But yeah, definitely. I try and be relatable with my content. You know, I speak from personal experiences. From what's worked for me, what's worked for my clients. And again, like the reason why I don't target middle-aged women is because I'm not one. You know, I target 25 to 35-year-old guys because I am one. And I know what it feels like to be a 25 to 35-year-old guy. And I know what they like. I know what they like to do on the weekends. I know what they like to eat. You know, we like to have convenience with everything we do. We want things to taste good. We want to have a beer. We want to have a sesh, whatever it is, you know. So it's just about being transparent with what I'm doing. And then, you know, actually as well, you know, kind of walking the walk a little bit as well. And, you know, showcasing that I can do those things whilst also being in, you know, all right shape. And then people think, okay, well, it's doable. And if he can do it and he's being open about how he does it, then I'm going to do it as well. So yeah, that's just that transparency with just being honest and open about what I do. I don't leave anything really, you know, like hidden and secret. It's just all my cards are on the table. Everyone knows. You ask me a question, I'll be completely honest with you. I don't care. It's just, and people like that honesty, because when you're lying, when you be deceitful, because I've done that in the past when I've done years of being on anabolic steroids, and when you go and lie, people know and people see right through that. So I'm like, well, what's the point of that? Just be an open book, put all your cards on the table. And since doing that, and since being totally transparent, you just build that respect way more, and that open relationship with people.
Definitely. I feel like especially the case with the fact that you have a personal brand and you're at the forefront of your brand, right? It's Coach Lenny V, like it's you. So in a way, like you're saying, it's almost like the niche is yourself, whether it's your younger self or your older self. But by being completely transparent about yourself, you can totally relate to that niche and be like, you know what? These are the realistic problems. These are realistic solutions, and this is the realistic lifestyle. And for anyone that's similar to you, aspires to be like you, or was like you in the past and wants to be like you now, like it just communicates seamlessly with them. Do you find that?
100%. When you can speak from past experiences, but even also like my brother and I, you know, over Christmas time, you know, everyone tends to put on maybe a few kilos, and I've just started dieting again. I've, you know, put on a little bit more pudgy than I would like to be. Obviously not out of shape, but not in Instagram worthy shape, or I am now, but along that process of getting back to where I'd like to be, it's funny because you start to understand. Whenever I diet, I understand the problems more about what my clients, you know, their problems as well. And then when you go through that same process, you can then share it on Instagram. It's so funny the amount of things that have come up over the last few weeks. We're like, that's a real. Write it down. Let's shoot that like next week or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
just going from that, having that personal experience and then relaying that on. Yeah, That's where it's at for sure.
Yeah, nail on the head right there for sure. The building a personal brand is like such an asset. I feel like that's the disconnect a lot of people have conversations with have. It's like they try to make their business something that it's not, and they fail to realize that, like, for example, one of the things is like, oh, I don't know how to make something unique or make it. Everyone in my niche has already kind of spoken about that. But the thing is, like, if you don't speak about that in your own words, in your own experience, then no one's going to hear your own unique way of it. You can be sharing the same piece of value, but no one can share the exact same experience that you've had and the lens through which you see and experience life, right?
Exactly. And I think also, like, when I started this whole thing, I was using my business brand as I was going under a business brand rather than a personal brand. And that was just getting nowhere, honestly. Like, trying to talk through the business, you just don't have that relatability, you don't have that trust. And then ever since going towards Coach Lenny V, it's like, okay, I trust this guy. I don't trust the brand. Brands are harder to gain trust. But then now everything's the same process. It's just people trust me, and it's like, okay, I'm working with Lenny. This is what I'm going to get, rather than a brand. So definitely that has helped massively. More than anything, just going to the personal brand.
It's harder to start faceless brands now. I feel like the faceless brands are mainly like the large corporations, the global brands, like Facebook, Apple, and I mean, even smaller than that. Like a brand that maybe sells a specific product or something. But when you're selling services, digital products, courses, coaching, you got to have that personal, because at the end, people buy from people, right? And emotions and story, the best story is what gets the sale, not the best product. You can have the best product in the world, but if you don't package that with a story, then it's harder to convince people to buy it, even though it may have all these features or benefits. People want to see how things work through people, right? Yeah. So having that personal brand is just like, it's such an asset to be able to connect with people. And like you said, like if, oh, hey, I'm working with Lenny, like that's what they think in their head, not, oh, I'm working for this insert brand company, right? So that's huge. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this conversation valuable, appreciate it if you can click the subscribe button, the like button, and that bell notification so you don't miss out on the next ones. Peace.